Today, I'm going to be talking about why wisdom is superior to knowledge. A lot of people have a lot of education, PhDs, medical degrees, all this education, but just no common sense and no real wisdom on how to live their life. I know someone who's a professor of math and they're behind on all their payments for everything, and their credit score is terrible. So, just because you have book knowledge and you've learned a lot in school and you have a piece of paper does not mean that you are a wise person. And wisdom is always superior to knowledge. And true wisdom comes from fearing God. I always talk about God's love for us and how it never goes away. And no matter how many bad things we do, that there's always a path back to God. And that's very true. But that's only half of the story. The other half of the story is you must have a healthy fear of God to be wise. And if you are not, you can have as many degrees as you want. You can have as much education as possible, but that does not make you wise. That won't necessarily make you wealthy, and it definitely won't give you a great life. My grandma was not an educated person. She slowly got a nursing degree, but she was the one that brought my entire family to this country. And one thing her and my grandpa, who was completely uneducated, both of them had a lot of wisdom, and they were able to bring not only my immediate family here, but help many other families come here and help them get great jobs serving other people in the medical field as nurses and doctors. And all their kids grew up to be nurses, doctors, and valuable members of society. And for them to cheat on each other, have an affair, lie, cheat, and steal was not even a thought, no matter what they went through. And they were not perfect. They had struggles. They fought. They had a lot of issues in their marriage. But the idea of cheating or having an affair or doing anything that would displease God was totally not an option. And the fear you should have of God is not like the fear of getting a speeding ticket when you're driving stupid, or the fear you had of your parents when you snuck out late. It's a different type of fear. It's a fear of building a barrier between you and God and getting further and further away from Him. So each time you commit sin and do things that you know are wrong, like envy, jealousy, lying, cheating, and stealing, and screwing people over. And it could even be simpler things, like looking at things you're not supposed to on the internet, browsing Tinder when you're in a relationship, not putting the shopping cart back with all the other shopping carts and just leaving it in the middle of the parking lot to hit someone else's car. All these small things, you have to know that God is watching. And each time you do these wrong things and you think no one's watching, God's watching, and it puts a distance between you and Him. He will always forgive you no matter what you do, but you are building up a wall and putting distance between you and Him and putting barriers between you and Him. And you can always come back no matter what you've done, no matter what sins you've committed, no matter how much you screwed other people over. You can always repent and come back, but the trail will be harder. There'll be obstacles in the way, and you'll have to walk a lot further when you let those small things go. Like watching things you shouldn't be watching, like screwing people over, like being envious of your neighbor, wanting their husband or wife, or wanting their car, or wanting their house. Envy, jealousy, hatred, screwing other people over. All these things puts distance between you and God. And when you have a healthy fear of God, all your other needs get met. When you also have an awareness of God's love for you and you fear Him, is when everything falls into place. My grandparents didn't have much, but they never went hungry, and they always had extra to help others, feed others. My grandma helped so many people. She gave away money till her dying day. She made a huge difference. At the Ellis Island Immigrant Memorial, her name is there. And she never made a lot of money, but she feared God. And there were certain lines she would never cross in her life. And she kept that fear of getting further from God. And she knew that if she did wrong things, if she cheated on her husband, if she screwed people over, that the distance between her and God would affect her life in a negative way. And it affects every aspect of your life, whether it's financial, emotional, health-wise. You might not think that it does, but it always catches up with you. And when you do those wrong things, you're creating distance between you and God and a further path to go down when you decide to go back to Him. So when you have temptation to do the wrong things, don't fight it. Just run. When the person at the office is flirting at you and you want to cheat on your partner, run from that. Don't fight it. Don't even give it the time of day. Whatever temptation comes your way, you have to run from it. And you don't replace temptation and bad habits you have to replace it with something else. So you can't just do nothing. You replace that with a positive activity. So if you're tempted sexually, take that energy to the gym. If you're tempted with something else, like screwing people over, use that energy for something positive. You replace temptation. You replace bad habits. You don't just let them simmer in your head. You have to get something else on your mind and replace it with something good. Go help someone else. Go make a TikTok or YouTube. Go to the gym. But you have to replace those negative thoughts and thoughts of temptation with something else. And that's what wise people know. And there's a lot of overeducated people who think they're so smart, but they really know nothing. And they don't have a lot to show for it. They're broke. They're unhappy. They're divorced. They don't have a good life. Their children hate them. And they have that PhD. So don't feel bad if you don't have a PhD or a bachelor's or whatever. As long as you're building your wisdom is what matters. Love you guys. Talk to you soon.